warm welcome to the Tabletop Games blog topic discussion.
Fear of the new. Sure, it's always great to play with the latest shinies and be at the cutting edge of what board games have to offer. It makes you feel trendy, in the know, or it's just great to have bought something new. I love it myself. It's amazing when someone offers you a game for review that hasn't been released yet. You feel honored. It's a special thing. It just makes you happy, and enjoying games has a lot to do with happiness for a lot of people. However, there's also the flip side. It can be stressful and often very expensive to always hunt for the latest game, the newest release. Your fear of missing out can turn into panic. That's when it's time to remind ourselves where our interest in the hobby started. First of all, there are simply too many games released every year for anyone to keep up with. Even if you have nothing else to do and your budget is unlimited, you simply can't play 10 games a day every single day of the year with no breaks. After all, roughly 3,000 to 4,000 games are released annually, and that excludes expansions. There's simply not enough hours in the day. So the simple fact is that you will miss some games, that's unavoidable. However, I hear you say that you don't want to buy every game. You just want to focus on the hot new games, the ones that everyone talks about. You might even restrict yourself to just 1 or 2 new games each month. That, you say, will be fine because you can afford it, and will be manageable. In reality though, and assuming that you actually are rich enough to afford it, or are able to share the cost with friends, or otherwise are able to get hold of these games in a sustainable way, the question is whether you will have enough time to play the games to really enjoy them. I would argue that most games need to be played at least 4 times to get the full enjoyment. Many, and especially complex games, need to be played many more times though, before you have thoroughly explored them. So if you buy 2 new games a month, you would have to ensure you have at least 2 games evenings a week and get those games to the table. Of course, I can't speak for you, but I find it difficult enough to play games once a week, let alone more often, at least with regards to playing with my games group. Yes, I do play more frequently with my wife, most evenings in fact, so they allow me to play certain games more often, but there are others that I only get a chance to play once a week at the most. Now, I don't want to tell you what to do, but I have found that playing games several times, ideally more than 4, is worth it. Many games reveal more subtleties and new strategies, and additional layers the more you play them. It could be as simple as having better luck if a game is luck dependent. Just because it didn't go your way on your first play doesn't mean you won't have a better experience on subsequent plays. For more complex games that are not dependent on luck, you will discover new strategies or ways of approaching a game with additional plays. Games that are asymmetric will also need to be played more often, at least once for each faction if you want to get the most out of them. I appreciate that there's peer pressure. Nobody wants to brag about having played Carcassonne dozens of times. It's much more popular to share first play of the latest game, and as I said, I do understand the enjoyment you get from playing a new game. However, nobody should feel bad talking about how they discovered a new strategy in an older game, because they have now played it so many times. We should really encourage repeat plays of games. After all, there has been an increase of re-releases in the last couple of years, and companies like Restoration Games pride themselves on bringing old classics back to life and making them fun with only small updates and changes. So it would be a shame if you bought an updated classic and only played it once or twice. In fact, every game has had so much time put into it, so much effort from game designers, developers, illustrators, rulebook writers, editors, publishers and many other people that we should really cherish and value. So here is to more plays of old games.
Thank you for listening to this Tabletop Games blog topic discussion podcast. Please check the description below for links mentioned in this episode, as well as to the written version of this article on the blog. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, give us some stars or leave a review. Please also tell your friends about me, and if you want to offer financial support, check out my Patreon and Ko-fi pages, links to which you'll find in the blog at tabletopgamesblog.com. So thank you again for listening, and I hope to see you again soon. This podcast is made possible by the generous help from our Patreon supporters: Royal Patron Sean Newman, the UK half of Gamelot, Castle Guard David Miller of Subquark Publishing, Dice Masters James Naylor, publisher of Magnate the First City, and Paul Grogan of Gaming Rules, and Shining Light Robin Kay of Rune Sky Games, Sarah Reed of Resourceful Games, Tim Vernig, and Richard Simpson of We're Not Wizards.